Welcome back to Modaufy Garage. I'm Alex, and on today's episode, we're changing the power steering hose on this 2006 BF Ford Falcon. So let's get to it. So this is the power steering pump, and directly underneath it is the power steering hose, and these do go when the cars do get high kilometers. So it shouldn't be a hard job to do. There's one nut under here on the top here, and there's one nut down the bottom on the rack. First things first, what we need to do is drain the reservoir here so we don't leave mess anywhere. But the main reason why we're doing it, look, it's got a small leak. The problem is it's got the alternator directly on the bottom of it, and I don't want the alternator to go. That's one last, it's not a hard job to fix, but it's something I just don't feel like replacing at this point in time. So let's get to it. Okay, so this is the hose that I need to replace. This is the high pressure hose. So I think all it is a 18 mil. So I've got to get an 18 mil behind there somehow, in here somehow, and crack it off and drain it first, because there's going to be oil in the line. Once that's drained, undo it from the top and then replace the hose. Okay, so I've gone to try and remove the hose, undone the clip, undone the plug here, and I've just realized that there's a piece of metal that goes all the way around this. I'm not sure how clear you can see it on TV, so on the camera, but there is a 12 mil bolt, so I'm just going to undo that. There you go, one faulty power steering hose. Okay, the only thing I need to do now is I need to take this part, and I'll do this on the bench. I need to undo this sensor because we will need to plug this back in. And so there's a little spot right there. So I'll go and undo this on the bench, tie it all down, take it off, clean everything up, wipe all the dirty power steering fluid away. And let's put the new part on. Let's do it. So I'm just using a shifter and my 14 mil, and undoing it. And before we put everything back together, I'm going to give everything a wipe down. That's it. All right, so we've taken everything apart. Now what we need to do, we've got a new hose. And before we do anything with this hose, we've got 3 O-rings. So I've got 2 green O-rings, which are the larger ones, and a small little black O-ring. So the green ones, they go on the ends of the hose, so I'll just put them on now. Like so. On the ends, and I will leave the black one for later. I'll just put it up here so I don't lose it, and that goes on the end of this switch. So I'll just take the old one off, put that to the side, and I'll just leave those two together, ready for next time. So we can start to put it all back together again. So I put the O-ring, the new O-ring on the end of this thread here. So then what I tried to do when I tried to put it in here, it wouldn't let me do it. Had a quick look at the instructions, and the instructions do say to put it right at the end up here. So I'll just bring it up to the camera. You can see right on the end. So now when I go to put it in, it should be a quick install like this, done. So what I'll do, I'll get the shifter, and I hope I have one of the right size spanners up here for the top one. Oh. Perfect. So my 14. Turn it the right way. That's it. Doesn't need any more than that, just a tight little turn. Just enough so it's in there. Okay. So now we're ready to put it all back together again. So I learned a valuable lesson. I was finished the job, went to do the editing, and lo and behold, I didn't have any sound on my videos. So here I am having another crack at it now. So what I wanted to run through first is when you're putting a hose back in, you want to put everything by hand tight first as much as you can, and just use a spanner just to finish it off. You'll actually feel it in the spanner as soon as it gets tight. Stop at that point. Don't proceed any further. Once you're confident everything is done up properly, what you'll need to do then is take, or the reservoir cap probably would be off if you're in the middle of doing it. So take it off, fill the reservoir up probably to the max line first. What you want to do is then get in the car and start it. In this instance, I did have the car up on jack stands. So what you want to do at that point is move the wheel full rotations from left to right, right to left. That allows you to bleed the system. Stop the car after a couple of turns, come back, check the reservoir, make sure there's fluid in it, and if you need to top it up, put it back up to the top fill line again, or to the max line on here, start the car up again, and continue to do the bleeding cycle till you're happy that the system is bled and you've got all your power steering back again. I realized when I was editing the video that my spanner sizes were all over the shop. The reason for that is don't pay too much attention to the sizes that I told you, except for this, the sensor up here, I think from memory was a 14 mil. I did use an aftermarket hose. The factory hose and the aftermarket hose both have different fittings up. The size spanners were different for both. So when you're doing it, just make sure you've got a variety from 14 mil upwards, I think, to 18 mil from memory. I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure it is. It's not a hard job, but it is a little bit fiddly. Just you got to get under the car. What I did, it was jacked up in the air. I took the front, the right wheel off just to make it easier access to get under the car, because some of the stuff I did have to do from underneath was just an easy approach. And my arms aren't that long enough, unfortunately. I do want to cover it off though. Just before you order this part, just make sure on the rack ends, you need to check how many bends. So for these particular cars, the BA and the BF, there are two parts. So one has this particular card, it's a BF, BF Series 1. It does have two bends. I believe the BAs have one bend. I'm not 100% sure on that. But there is also a part with three bends. Now, I'm not sure if that's for the turbos or the V8s or just the V8s. So just be careful what part you actually order. Go underneath the car first and check it. If you liked how I changed the power steering hose on this BF Ford Falcon, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more content from Modaufy Garage, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next video.